By 330 BC, Alexander the Great had done what no man before him could. The mighty Persian Empire had fallen, Darius was dead, and a young Macedonian king now ruled from Greece to Egypt, across deserts, mountains, and rivers that had once seemed like the ends of the world. But for Alexander, this was only the beginning. His eyes now turned east toward the fabled land of India, a place of immense wealth and ancient wisdom. To reach it, he first had to cross one of the toughest terrains known to man, the land of Gandhara, now part of northwestern Pakistan. In 327 BC, Alexander made a bold decision. Instead of taking the well-guarded Khyber Pass, he split his forces. His generals Hephaestion and Perdiccas were sent to secure the Khyber Pass, but Alexander himself, restless and daring as ever, chose the northern route through the deadly Gandhara Pass. It was a near-suicidal move, but that's what made it brilliant. When his men finally emerged from the mountains, they found themselves deep inside Gandhara, behind enemy lines. The tribes had been outflanked. Alexander struck like a ghost. As he marched deeper into Gandhara, something extraordinary happened. His army reached a mysterious city called Nysa at the foot of a sacred mountain. The people there claimed their city had founded by Dionysus himself, the Greek god of wine and ecstasy. And on that very mountain, ivy, a plant sacred to Dionysus, grew wild. In this dry, rugged landscape, it was a miracle. To Alexander's homesick soldiers, it was a sign from the gods. They believed that they were walking in the footsteps of their own divinity. The city's elders, led by Epiphanes, came before Alexander. They didn't beg for mercy, they reasoned with pride. They asked him to spare Nysa, not for their own lives, but for the sake of Dionysus. They claimed kinship with the god and, by extension, with Alexander himself. Flattered and intrigued, Alexander agreed. He spared the city, granted it autonomy, and even accepted 300 of its finest horsemen for his campaign. Epiphanes offered his son and grandson to accompany the conqueror, a gesture of loyalty Alexander admired. Soon after, Alexander climbed Mountain Meros with his companions. There, amidst ivy and laurel, he performed sacrifices to Dionysus. His soldiers, drunk with relief and awe, crowned themselves with ivy wreaths, sang hymns, and feasted. On a mountain in what is now Pakistan, Greek soldiers celebrated their god far from home in the heart of Asia. It was a moment where myth and history merged, and Alexander, ever the master of theater, turned faith into power. But the peace did not last. Alexander's next challenge was Massica, the stronghold of the Assassini, or the horse people. Their ruler, King Assacanus, had fallen in battle, leaving his mother, Queen Cleophas, to defend the city. The Assassini had 30,000 cavalry, 38,000 infantry, and 30 war elephants. The siege that followed was brutal. Alexander himself was wounded in the ankle, and his men faced fierce resistance. When Massica finally surrendered, Alexander made a controversial decision. He massacred the mercenary defenders, men who had laid down their arms under oath. It was one of the darkest stains on his campaign. After the slaughter, Queen Cleophas approached Alexander's camp. She carried her infant son and offered libations, pleading for mercy. Alexander spared her and restored her rule. Ancient writers whispered that their meeting led to a son, another Alexander, born from their brief union. Whether true or myth, it became part of the legend that followed him. After Massica fell, Alexander's army crushed the nearby cities of Bazira and Ora. Those who resisted were slain or enslaved. Fortified, Macedonian garrisons were established across Gandhara. By the spring of 326 BC, Alexander had secured the region. He was now ready for his greatest test, the Battle of the Hydaspes against King Porus. Alexander's time in Gandhara was a turning point. He had conquered, bled, and celebrated, but he also planted seeds of something lasting. In the ruins and valleys he left behind, Greek and Indian worlds began to merge. Cities like Alexandria in the Caucasus became centers of Hellenistic culture, and centuries later, Gandhara would give birth to one of history's most beautiful fusions, Greco-Buddhist art. Here, the Buddha was sculpted with the serene face of Apollo and the robes of a Greek philosopher. The meeting of the East and West in Gandhara reshaped the face of art and spirituality forever. Alexander came as a conqueror, but he left as a catalyst, a bridge between civilizations. And in the silent valleys of Gandhara, his legacy still lingers, not in the ruins of blood, but in stone, faith, and art.